I hope that was good. I spent 29 years of my working life in a company called IKEA, Swedish home furnishing company. How many knows about IKEA here? Okay, quite a few. Very good. I hope IKEA will open their store here in Auckland in a year's time or something like that. I left IKEA 2 years ago, and the last 10 years of my IKEA career, I built and led something called sustainability innovation. And I will share today with you some of the learnings and outcomes of that work and the sustainability journey that IKEA had. What it takes to actually innovate in a corporate and what makes that sort of successful and tick. But to put it into a context, I want to start with showing you a film about where we are now and why this is important.
This is the story of how one species changed a planet. The latest chapter of our story begins in England 250 years ago. Fueled by coal, then oil, several brilliant inventions appeared. They ignited the Industrial Revolution, which spread like wildfire through Europe, North America, Japan, then elsewhere. The great railways, then cars and highways, connected people across the globe. Medical discoveries saved millions of lives. New artificial fertilizers meant we could feed more people. Population rose rapidly. But this was nothing compared with what was to come. The 1950s marked the beginning of the Great Acceleration. Globalization, marketing, tourism, and huge investments helped fuel enormous growth. People swarmed to cities, which became even more powerful engines of creativity. In a single lifetime, the well-being of millions has improved beyond measure. Health, wealth, security, longevity, never have so many had so much. Yet 1 billion are malnourished. In a single lifetime, we have grown into a phenomenal global force. We move more sediment and rock annually than all natural processes, such as erosion and rivers. We manage 3/4 of all land outside the ice sheets. Greenhouse gas levels this high have not been seen for over 1 million years. Temperatures are increasing. We have made a hole in the ozone layer. We are losing biodiversity. Many of the world's deltas are sinking due to damming, mining, and other causes. Sea level is rising. Ocean acidification is a real threat. We are altering Earth's natural cycles. We have entered the Anthropocene, a new geological epoch dominated by humanity. This relentless pressure on our planet risks unprecedented destabilization. But our creativity, energy, and industry offer hope. We have shaped our past. We are shaping our present. We can shape our future. You and I are part of this story. We are the first generation to realize this new responsibility. As the population grows to 9 billion, we must find a safe operating space for humanity, for the sake of future generations. Welcome to the Anthropocene.
So, as you see, as a species, we have become so powerful that we can change the Earth systems. Just by doing what we have been doing the last 100, 150 years. Most of it has been done to improve our lives and improve every person's lives on the planet, but it has come to a cost. A cost of the natural resources, and we are taking out much more of the resources than the planet can give back. So what do we use this superpower to change not only the Earth system, but also our own system? To create businesses, create business models, products that are actually positive for the planet and people. And this is about what I will talk about today a bit. But we start with IKEA and where the sustainability journey started for them. This is from beginning of 1990, two things happened. First, they found too much formaldehyde in Billy bookcases sold by IKEA. Huge blow to the company. Customers started to not trust the products from the company. Catastrophe. A couple of years later, they found child labor at the carpet supplier in India. Again, huge blow to the company. And trust was lost towards the customers and consumers. Then the CEO at the time was in an interview with a journalist, and the journalist started to ask questions about this, and he couldn't answer. He was totally out of his comfort zone, couldn't give the right answers, didn't really know what to say. And after that, he came back, gathered his management team, and said he was really pissed. So he said, "Never, ever again. This shall never, ever again happen. These are serious things. Now we need to deal with them in a proper way." So we started two big programs within the company. One about the products, how we secured content, chemical contents and other types of contents in the product to create trust again towards our customers. The second one was around the supply chain, code of conduct. How do we improve working conditions for our suppliers and people working in our supply chain? Two big projects. Enormous resources were poured in there. I was part of leading the supply chain thing and developing our code of conduct. We did that for many years, and we improved a lot of things. We were really proud of what we did. Fast forward 10 years, we continued that work. Then we hired a new chief sustainability officer, the guy on the picture here, Steve Howard. And he came in externally, had been working in the sustainability field, but in other places. He came in, looked at what we did. We said, this looks good. This is good what you're doing. And what are you doing more? And we said, what do you mean? We're doing these great things. We're really proud of what we're doing. Yeah, I can see that, he said. But IKEA has sort of a brand that is well known over the world. It's a power in that brand. What type of force do you want to be in society? What future do you want to build? What future do you want to contribute to? So you ask those fundamental questions to us and to the organizations, things we probably hadn't been thinking of so much. So we started to take that in, started to work on it, and we identified 3 areas where we felt that, okay, we have mandate here, both from internal stakeholders and external stakeholders, to work with, to influence, and to build a future that is better. So climate change is the first area we identified. We'd already, at this point in time, felt the consequences of climate change. We had been forced to close stores because of extreme weather events. Our co-workers had left their homes because of that. So we said, this is important. This is a risk for our business. We need to address this. Second one was unsustainable consumption. This was a tough one to get through the company, to understand and realize we're part of the problem here. And we can stay there and be a part of the problem, or we can move forward and try to be a part of the solution. Which was, as I said, a hard journey. Finally, we got it through. So unsustainable consumption was the third area. And the second area. The third one is inequality. Looking at society in large, seeing the inequalities in society, polarization in society, which is a threat, both to society, but also to us as a business. We wanted to be an inclusive business where everyone was welcome. So this was a really big area for us. We also decided this will be our superpower, the inclusiveness in the company. 3 areas, defined. These are the things we will address or where we have the mandate. But to be able to do that and to actually create that future, we needed to understand, okay, what is a possible future and how does that look like? So we looked into different areas. Now this is newer, but we looked at sort of these two major trends. First is technology and digital transformation. We've heard a lot about that today. This technology-driven. Things are developed because we can develop them, and they are developed because technology is there. We realized, okay, this is changing the pace of life. This is changing the pace of business. We need to adapt, and we need to embrace the digital transformation. Then you had the sustainability transformation. It's about climate change, biodiversity loss, water scarcity, inequalities. It's mainly driven by us, individuals, citizens, consumers, and our behaviors. Sometimes we shop until we die, and we enjoy it. It's hard for me to understand, but so we then took that in as a behavioral change that we needed to contribute to. Sustainability is a lot about behaviors, emotions, and how do you drive change in that? We also looked into this. So every year, World Economic Forum sort of makes a risk analysis of the world. And if you're wanting to create a better future, you look at a 10-year perspective there. And it's more or less green and red. Green is environmental concerns or risks. Red is social risks. So I think it's 7 out of 10 is either green or red. Where there is a risk, there is a business opportunity. There is an opportunity for any company, any industry to address those risks, create a business opportunity out of it, and become relevant for that future or society that we are building. So baking all of this together, this is what we create there, a people and planet positive strategy. This became our sustainability strategy, but more importantly, it became our future strategy. So we wanted to sort of contribute to a more healthy and sustainable living in our customers' homes. We wanted to become a circular and climate positive company, and we wanted to be a fair and equal part in society. So those things, those three areas addressed our future strategy. We also realized this is not business as usual. We can't sort of incrementally improve or change our business into something it's not. We need real change. And to be able to do that, we needed innovation. So then this is where they asked me, could you set up something we call sustainability innovation? Because we need to innovate, transformational innovation, to change the company, to build new businesses for us that are based in sustainability and the customer's needs, and how we can change behaviors internally but also externally at our customers' homes. So of course I said yes, this sounds interesting. So let me share some of the learnings we've had to actually succeed in corporate innovation, to create change and create new solutions for a big corporate. So the first thing is people, and it's also the most important thing. People, people, people. Without the people, you will not do anything. So what we then realized after a while is that we need the crazy ones. The ones that are crazy enough to believe that they can change the world. If you don't believe that you will change the world or can change the world, you will not change the world. And we needed these people, so we call them the crazy ones. We need to bring in the crazy people in here to actually innovate for real. So that was the start of the journey. We needed to find the right people. Secondly, we needed to get an innovation mindset. IKEA is a corporate machine. It's really good at what it's doing, but to innovate into a machine, you know, when you come with change or new things into a machine, they will spit you out faster than you came in because you're disturbing the machine. So we needed to create a new type of mindset for ourselves. So this is what IKEA and all corporates are good at, incremental growth, a couple of percentage every year. Everyone is happy. Unfortunately, the world looks like this today. So exponential change is happening very, very fast. And you need to cope with that if you're going to survive. This space here is very interesting. The period of deceptive disappointment. This is where innovation happens. We heard earlier today, it took 7 years to create a product, a good product. You're in there for 7 years. You go to work for 7 years. You don't know if it will work or not. This is where you are in a period of deceptive disappointment. Most people leave here because it takes too long. It's too hard. People laugh at you. If you have crazy ideas, people laugh at you here. And there are several examples, I think, around the world where great people have stayed, create great products. Others have laughed at them for a very long time. But when they succeed, they come in here. So you have a period of disruptive opportunity. Now you're ahead of the curve. All the guys that laugh at you, they will never catch up with you again. Because you did the work. You did your homework. You did it right. You did it from the beginning, and now you're leading. So if you want to innovate and create that innovation mindset, stay in the period of deceptive disappointment because the reward is so high. You will fail probably 8 out of 10 times, but that's okay. The 2 times you succeed pays everything back for the 8 failures that you had. So, people, innovation mindset, and then you need culture. So, hire the crazy ones, put them in a place where you have psychological safety, where they can be themselves, where they can bring their ideas up front with no risk of criticism or that someone is punishing them or closing them out or anything like that. Create an environment where everyone is welcome. Every idea is welcome. We build on our ideas. We work together. Very important when you innovate. You can't sort of close your mind or close people out or their ideas. You then promote failures or learning. Failures in itself is not something you strive for. Failures are not very good, but they will happen. I think all of us make mistakes every day. We fail a lot, which is okay. The important thing is what we do with that failure. Do we learn from it? Do we transform it into action? Do we take the next step, change a bit of direction? I learned this didn't work, but I do this now with that learning. So fail, learn, and move forward. Have that mindset. What we also did then is to create a reverse governance. If you're a project manager, you get a project. You also get a task to deliver that project 10 months later or 6 months later. There's a structure around it. You do your Gantt chart, you have your steering groups, you have your budget, and then you come back when you've done sort of the first step, go to the steering group, you report. A lot of smart people sit there and they ask you smart questions. You come into a situation where you sort of defend your project. You won't tell them everything because everything is not working perfectly. You go back, you do your stuff, you go to the next meeting, the same procedure. No one really asks if it is a great project. Is this a fantastic project that you're delivering? Because you keep on to the project as a project manager, you want to deliver it because you're going to be rewarded based on that. So we did the opposite. We said, We only want great projects, fantastic, amazing projects. So we put up parameters for each project that we had. This is amazing. This is fantastic. And we asked the project manager to close. If you see you will not be able to reach this, please close the project as soon as possible. Because that is so much lower cost than if we keep on doing this project and it's only mediocre. That helped us a lot, also in the dialogue with our teams and the people to actually just get sort of the best projects out of the project portfolio that we had. It's very difficult to do because people are not comfortable in those situations. People, mindset, culture. 3 learnings on how to succeed with corporate innovation. So let me share some examples of what we did. There you have Gunrid curtain. We said air pollution is a big problem in the world. How can we contribute to it in people's homes? So the easy answer is, yeah, we develop a machine that filters it. We wanted to design it into the products that we already had. So we invented a coating, and we coated the curtains, which then broke down the particles in the air. So you said a curtain that helps you take away air pollutions in your home. The plant ball, I don't know if you know, but IKEA's restaurant is one of the 10 biggest restaurant chains in the world. And the meatballs, we sell a lot of meatballs in IKEA. But it's red meat. We started to develop veggie balls, which went good, but that's sort of for the vegetarians already. So we said, how do we get the meat eaters with us? How do we get them to eat more healthy food? So we developed a plant-based meatball or plant ball, which we launched. Same texture, same taste, same color, everything same. I hardly feel the difference myself. And it's 4% of the climate footprint of a meatball. And it's much more healthy for you since there's no red meat in there. So that you can buy in the IKEA restaurant or in the Swedish food market, take back home and eat. Solhetta LED. When we started that back in 2012-13, one lamp costed 20 euro. And we said, the incandescent lamp is more of a heat source in your home. 90-95% of the energy is heat. The rest is light. So we said, we need to change this to the LED lights. So we started a huge thing, actually transforming the whole value chain of lighting. So we had a goal, within 3 years we should go from 20 euro to 2 euro, which we did. So we totally disrupted the way that lighting is produced and assembled, distributed everything. And suddenly we created accessibility to new light sources that were so much more sustainable than the incandescent light. Bit of circularity in the food space. We had a lot of food waste from the restaurants, organic waste from the flower department. So we said, how can we take care of that? Because it cost us money to get rid of the waste. So we started to experiment with small biogas plants, with composting, and sort of found out how that mix of organic waste should look like to be successful and sort of have those small biogas plants at the store. At the same time, we started to experiment with vertical farming. So we equipped 40-foot containers with vertical farming equipment, started to grow salad and greens and herbs at the store. So we put the container outside the store. And we could grow salad, serve it in the restaurant, even sell salad to customers in the Swedish food market, and herbs. So this is great. We locally produced salad and greens and herbs. Then we started to combine these things. So, okay, we have the biogas plant, which can then create energy back into the store from the waste. It also creates energy to the vertical farm. We could also do a liquid fertilizer in the biogas plant that we used in the vertical farm, or we could sell it as a product to customers that growed things back home. And suddenly we had created sort of a small circular system at the store, taking away a cost for the food waste and sort of taking down the energy cost, because now we produced energy ourselves in the biogas plant and locally produced salads and greens. That was another project we did, which was successful. We then looked into the future of production and retail. How will that look like? So our theory, or what we wanted to achieve, or how we saw that future was, well, I have a need for a product. Could be a chair. I want new chairs for my dining table. Okay, you go into the internet. There are no stores. If you go to the internet, you find a product you like. Let's say it's an IKEA product. You then license the right to use and produce that chair. So you download the production instructions to yourself. You take that, go to your local producer that produces the chair for you from local material that is circulated in the city or in the local region where you are. It's transported home to you. You use it for a while because you lease that chair from that producer. That producer owns the material and the product. When you don't want it anymore, you hand it back, and the producer can reproduce from the material that you've had in the chair. And you stop the license agreement with IKEA in this case. So this is the model we built up, and we said, okay, we have a range of products, so that we already have. We have the design, but how do we set up the production facilities? How do we take one factory and make it 500 factories in a city, big city? So no one is further away than 300 to 500 meters from one of these production units. So we started to collaborate with a lot of other companies that had other capabilities than we had. So we looked at generative design, collaborative robotics, AI machine learning on the robotics. We don't need to program them, they're learning themselves. 3D printing. Can we 3D print all the furniture that we have in IKEA and then reuse all the materials in that sort of region? Building local material flows sort of to make sure that this works. Recycling technologies. What do we need to have? Are we prepared to have the same product but with different materials depending on where in the world we are, because the accessibility of materials are different? It's a very exciting project. And as I said, we worked with a couple of other big companies, but I don't say it's a failure, but we didn't come to the end of this one because technology wasn't there. We couldn't actually do it because technology needed another 3, 4, 5 years to be able to do what we wanted to do. So here we failed and learned, and then we had to stop it because it was not a great project. It was not fantastic with the current technology, so we stopped it, we paused it. It's probably going to be picked up in a couple of years to hopefully build those smaller production sites, units in the cities, so where you can create that sort of circular material flow and locally produced products. A couple of other examples which I'm working with now. This is a New Zealand company which I've been working with, X-Frame. They do walls, dividers for offices and retail spaces. Totally circular with 12 standard parts. You can build any wall. And then, when you don't use it anymore, or you don't want it, you need to redesign your office or your retail space. Just disassemble the wall, store your parts, you rebuild the walls again in different shapes and different forms. So you don't need to buy new walls. You just reuse these materials all the time. So here's a couple of products that you can build. So you have the telephone booth, you have sort of meeting rooms, retail spaces that can be changed over time. I think fantastic product, local material from New Zealand, and very innovative design and production. Last one, net zero company. What they're doing is taking carbon removals. So if you want to go net zero, you do that in two ways. You take down your carbon emissions as much as possible. You will probably never come to zero. No one will. Then you need carbon removals, which are carbon credits where you sort of sequester carbon from the atmosphere. And then you balance your output with sequestering them. So they're working with the carbon removal stuff. Today it's a very opaque market, very intransparent, over the counter, you pick up the phone, and then you buy this. No price transparency, no nothing. So they do digitize those carbon credits, carbon removals, and put them on blockchain to create and increase accessibility so anyone can buy it. And when it's also digitized, it's very easy to integrate into your digital infrastructure if you want to use it in your cashier system or in any other way. So both using blockchain as one of to create transparency, efficiency, security for trading, but also digitizing in itself helps a lot to increase accessibility and applicability for these carbon removals, which we will need a lot in the future. So just a couple of examples of projects I'm involved with right now and what we did at IKEA. An important question is, what future do you want to create? Your organization. And how do you decide that? How do you come to a situation where you say, this is the future I want to contribute to and build in my industry with the mandate I have? So just a short summary on the learnings. So be clear on your ambitions and purpose. That helps you a lot to identify what type of future and what areas you are focusing on. Bring in external perspective. So when we took in Steve, he started to ask us questions we hadn't asked before, which helped us a lot to take the next step and take us out in the world and understand we could be a real force in building a future we wanted. Utilize technology as a driver of change. Technology is a tool, helps a lot when you want to change. Hire some crazy people. How many people here hires crazy people? Not so many, few of you. Well, my advice is start hiring crazy people who wants to change the world. They will help you a lot to both transform yourself and your company to a better place. And then create a culture where you can make mistakes, learn and move on. That also helps a lot if you want to innovate. So, thank you very much for listening.